By the end of this video, you will know whether moving actually makes sense for you, what mistakes to avoid, and how to make a plan that does not wreck you financially or emotionally. Most people don't move because they're excited. They move because their house quietly stops working for them. And that's the part nobody really wants to talk about. Whether it's your kids growing up, getting out of school, moving off, moving back in, your parents are aging, they need to move in with you, you need to move to put them into a home, they need to move into a home and sell their house so you have more money to buy something else. You started working from home maybe and it's crazy at your house, so you need a better office or just more bedrooms so the kids are out of your way. Or maybe you just have some empty rooms in your home and you'd feel a lot better without empty rooms. You might feel stuck. You've tried or thought about or gotten quotes for renovating your home, and it just doesn't seem like that's the way that's going to make you happy. Maybe you bought new furniture, rearranged the same furniture, had somebody come in to decorate, paid a whole bunch of money to repaint your whole house, and still didn't quite scratch that itch. Maybe you've been waiting for the last 15 years for the perfect market to have something fall into your lap, and you just hit that breaking point. Or maybe you're just somebody that's been scrolling Zillow for the last 10 years and looking at every single house that hits the market, and one just caught your eye. The truth of the matter is most people are not scared of moving, they're scared of making the wrong move. So you might have some big decisions coming up. You're thinking about making the move, but you don't know if you want to buy a house first or sell your house first. That's where setting up a consultation with me or any local real estate agent can really help you determine how long it's going to take to sell your home, how much money you can expect from the sale of your home. Whereas if you buy first, that's where you would talk with an agent or get with an agent and their lender so that they can qualify you, determine how much you're going to be able to buy to make sure that what you want is achievable and whether or not you can buy that home without selling your old house first. And there's a bunch of paths you can take to get there, whether that's renting out your first home, selling the first home. Okay, there's two paths really. So you might also be trying to time the market, right? You're deciding buyer's market, seller's market, what's happening, where's everybody going, and the truth of the matter is if you are moving within the same market, so say you live here in Baytown and you're moving to somewhere else in Baytown, Mont Belvieu, Dayton, Crosby, the truth is all of those markets, even though they're separated, by up to an hour of time, you are really looking at the same market, right? I mean, as far as if it's a buyer's market, if it's a seller's market. So if you're selling in one market and buying in the same market, it's kind of a wash, right? You get a better deal maybe when you sell or a better deal when you buy, but you're not getting the best at both times. So the real answer to when you should move is when you're ready to move, whether we're in a buyer's market or whether we're in a seller's market. You can wait forever and you will never have the best of both worlds, most likely. We did see in COVID where, some people did hit that just perfect spot, but it's not likely to come around again in our lifetime. Now, you might also be scrolling through Zillow and you'll see they have their payment estimates that are on the bottom. It'll say, hey, buy this house, it's going to be $1,200. Or you'll see new construction places have big signs out front, $0 down. Your payment's going to be $800. LGI, Lennar, D.R. Horton are really bad about that, where they put just your principal and your interest, and they call that your payment, which technically it is, but you have to keep in mind your taxes, your insurance, your HOA, all that does really determine whether or not you are financially able to make something like that work. And the bank does include, it's called your pity payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, whenever they're determining what you qualify for. So when you see those small numbers on Zillow and then call me and get with Clifton, who's my lending partner, and we hit you with the real numbers, most people have sticker shock. So in reality, you should not be using those online mortgage estimators because each house is going to have a different tax range. They're going to have a different insurance requirement. And insurance, of course, is going through the roof recently. But every single house is going to be a little bit different. So using a generic calculator doesn't generally work. It can tell you principal and interest, then you got to calculate your own taxes and insurance as well. But just keep that in mind when you're browsing online. Because really, the biggest mistakes that I see are not emotional; they're more unplanned. If you go in, well, there's a saying. I don't know who said it, but if you're not planning, you either plan to. If you fail to plan, what is that saying? If you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. And it's really the case in real estate, right? You have to have an idea of where we're going, how we're getting there before you start pulling the trigger. So I like to think of my very first deal. Now, this was somebody that needed to sell an older mobile home, maybe not that much older, but they were selling a mobile home way out in Dayton. They wanted to move all the way down to League City to get their kids into Clear Creek schools. And they, that was 10 years ago. So, they went from elementary school all the way through high school during, the last 10 years that I've known these people. And I still talk to them occasionally, but that's one of their biggest things is when they reached out, I, as a brand new agent, didn't really know what to do, but I still had the wherewithal to talk to my mentors and, friends of mine that were in the business and help get them on the right path to getting their home sold and buying that next house, kind of in the same span of time, which, is very important that you have somebody, especially when you're doing that kind of move, somebody that knows what they're doing, or at least has people around them that can help them know what they're doing. But, it can be dangerous to try and make the move simultaneously without any sort of contingency plan. Luckily, that one, as a baby agent, I made it through. Actually, that one their sale was crazy. I almost quit real estate because of the lender that was involved on that one. Anyway, I'm getting down the wrong line here, but you really just have to know what you're getting into before you get into it. And I've also had, this is a client again out in Dayton, and they had been living in the same home for 15 years. It's just a husband and wife. They tried to have kids, never really got around to it. I don't know exactly what happened there, but they lived in the same house for 15 years, had too many bedrooms. It reminded them that they weren't able to have kids. So instead of selling it and getting out of there and going on with their life, they sat around and wallowed in sadness when they didn't really have to. There's plenty of equity in the house. They could have sold many, many years ago, but they really just didn't know what was out there as options. So I actually was referred to them by some previous clients, and they were able to get us connected, and I was able to get that family out of their stuck situation and get them into a condo down by NASA. I guess that's League City too. I have a lot of people that go from Dayton to League City, but being in a situation that you don't want to be in, it's often difficult to imagine where you could be, and that's where I come in. So you give me a call, I walk through your situation, I help you determine what the house is worth, what we can get for it, how long it's going to take to get it, and then we figure out where you want to go. And I really think that real estate has blessed me with being able to help so many families get from point A to point B, whether it's a situation of sadness or happiness, right? Some of them they sold their first home ever, bought their dream home, now they have land, they can have horses, they can do whatever they want. Or having those clients that they really just want a house that has a culvert in front of it because they like a Halloween statue of it that they can put in their culvert in front of their house. Your needs don't have to make sense to anybody else, but I'd love to help you, get exactly what you're looking for. So my job really isn't to convince you to move or to push you to make that step. My job is to be here so that when you're ready, the steps are easy. So making a smart move. What does that really mean? So, as I previously talked about, you got to know where you want to go, why you want to go, how you want to go. But more importantly, you have to know what's going to happen throughout the process. Right? Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a fifth-time home buyer, any time has lapsed, there's a good chance that things are a little bit different now than before. There's a very good chance that your dad or your grandpa or your cousin that bought a house a few years ago might not know exactly what's happening in the market. So having a real estate agent, hopefully me, but any real estate agent, is generally a great plan so that that move can be as, I don't want to say smart, the move can be as planned out as possible. You got to know, you got to have clarity before the contract, right? You got to know what's going to happen, right? And you can get any of my guides. I've made a bunch of them over the years. You find them all over the place. I will actually link them down below. I have a buyer's guide and a seller's guide, but just having a general pathway is step one. That way, as things arise, you know what questions are necessary to ask and when to ask them and how to ask them, right? And who to ask them of. There's a lot that goes into the process, and having a real estate agent, I think of us as the spoke in the middle of your wheel. You could buy a house without me. There's no doubt, right? You don't need a real estate agent per se, but we make it easier. I am the connection that you'll have to the title company, to the other agent, to the lending company, to the gardeners, to the roofers, to the whatever else you might need when it comes to buying a house, owning a house, selling a house. I'm that middle spoke, right? Right there in the middle, and connect you to all those people that you might need in a transaction. So again, you can do it on your own. There's no doubt. But I can help. So, know what you're doing, why you're doing it. Let me help. So, there's a lot of paperwork involved in real estate. And that's, in my opinion, a very small portion of what we're doing. And a lot of the contract portion is actually moving to, AI. There's all kind of stuff out there that you could not have somebody in your corner and use the AI stuff, and sure, it'll do the paperwork for you and it'll do it correctly. But what you don't get is the knowledge and experience of the area, of having somebody to carry your baby around so you don't have to chase them up and down the stairs while you're trying to look at new construction houses, or going to pick up your daughter because y'all were eating lunch around the corner and you had to come to the inspection and need somebody to go get her. Right? I mean, it's that's just the little things, but having somebody, an outside eye looking in on everything, right? You get to look at the pretty, you get to walk around and enjoy all the homes that we're looking at, and I get to stare at the ceiling and stare at the floor and stare at the walls to make sure that that pretty thing that you think is pretty isn't a big old pile of junk, and we don't lose any money before even getting to the inspection phase, which of course you will get an inspection. Again, my guy Troy Claveman with Full House Inspections, he's done pretty much every single inspection for me, including my own personal homes. So shout out to him. But you really just need somebody in your corner that's going to make sure you get from point A, which is wherever you're living now, to point B, which is that brand new home or land or barn dominium or skyscraper or whatever you want to live in. Let's get you there as painlessly as possible. Now, I think more importantly than anything is math over emotion. You are buying the house for most likely an emotional reason. The things that we've discussed previously, right? You're moving up, you're moving down, parents passed away, kids are moving out, kids are moving back in, parents are moving back in. You never know why you might move, but when you move, knowing the math behind everything, knowing how much it's going to sell for, when it's going to sell, how long it's going to take, what it's going to cost to buy, I help you do all of that. I help you make the plan, again, point A, where you're at, to point B, where you're going, as painlessly as possible. And I do all the math behind it. I'm giving you numbers on each offer that come in. I'm giving you ideas for ways that you can save on the next house, plans for maybe jobs that can be done now versus later, rolled into the cost versus not rolled into the cost of your mortgage. I help you do all that, right? Any questions that you have, I'm that guy sitting in the corner with all the contacts, help you figure out exactly what it is you need and when you need it, before you even know that you might or might not need it. And then, of course, I'm here for you, right? Like, I don't care if you ever buy a house. Of course, I love it. Right? I only get paid when you buy a house, but I am here to help everybody make sure that making a move is the move to make. That sounded ridiculous, but it's true. Uh, I am here to make sure that when you move, it's a good move, right? It's a responsible move. It's the right move. And only you can ultimately make that decision. But again, I'm here as your real estate Sherpa. Right? Imagine me on a mountainside with some sheep or tigers or whatever it is you want to consider yourself. But I help you get off that mountain because, again, some of the biggest mistakes I've seen, it's because people just didn't think about it. They listed their house for less than it was worth. They listed their house for too much. They did some remodeling that was questionable that maybe they shouldn't have done when they tried to sell it. There's so much stuff online. I'm going to pause. Do not get solar, ever. Any deal I've ever dealt with solar, disaster. Does not add value to your home. Don't do it. Continuing on. But I'm here to advocate for you. I'm here to make sure that everybody within the transaction knows that you're serious about buying or selling or whatever it is that you're doing. I'm in contact with title. I'm in contact with lenders. I'm making sure that everything that happens in your favor, at least as much as possible. I have a saying that a good deal is one in which everybody is just a little bit unhappy. That's a good deal. So my job is to make you a little bit less unhappy than the other person. That's me doing a good job. Me doing a fantastic job is making other people cry and you having a party. So we get those sometimes. But for the most part, the goal is, you're a little bit more happy than the person on the other side of the transaction. I call that a win. So there's a lot of real estate agents. All right, let me not sugarcoat that at all. I believe in the Houston market, we're at 60,000, 55,000, something crazy ridiculous. Of that, I think 70% do 0 or 1 deals. That's, like my inspector has his real estate license, but he doesn't help people buy houses. He just has it so he can get access to the Supra and check out the house without needing me there. But there's a lot of people like that. There's people that are teachers. There's people that got it as a joke. Getting the license isn't difficult. Doing the job, I would say, is very much difficult. But there's, again, 55,000, I'm going to call it average, 55,000 real estate agents. So, why should you pick me? The real answer is maybe you shouldn't, right? I mean, there's a lot of us out there. There's some good ones. I have very good friends in real estate that do a fantastic job. And really, it comes down to meeting with some agents and determining who fits you. It's the same way as an agent, the brokerage that I'm at, right? Like, I didn't get hired by a broker, really. I went and picked a broker, and you're the same way, right? You have to pick somebody that you think is going to advocate for all of what you need, all of what you want. They're going to be in your corner. They are doing it to make your life better, not necessarily to just get a paycheck. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about getting a paycheck. Right? Don't let anybody lie to you. The paycheck is a good part of the business. But I try and make sure that my clients, I don't try. I make sure that my clients' needs come before my paycheck because that's the best way to keep the paychecks coming, right? I make you happy. You tell your friends. They get me more paychecks. I'm not doing it for free most of the time. Sometimes stuff happens and it goes that way. But, it's just been a fantastic journey, right, in the last decade. Just getting to help. I believe I'm at 156 deals, something like that. And every single one, I've learned something new, some new issue, some crazy thing that might happen. It's been a wild ride, and I'd love to help you on your journey through homeownership, maybe the first or 10th time, and take what I've learned from my past transactions to make sure that those issues don't occur with your deals, and also just to have fun while we're doing it, right? Because I have my slogan. I don't say it a lot because it sounds kind of corny, but I do believe in it, and that is a homeowner's best friend, and that's really what I try and be. Whether you are, well, what do they call a bridezilla for buying houses? But whether you've got every inkling of anger in your body through the transaction or not, I know that it's generally not personal, and I am going to match your level of crazy and getting you where you want to go, right? I can be the bulldog. I can be the best friend. I can be, whatever you need me to be in your corner. I know that some people like to negotiate in one way and some might prefer a little bit more aggressive way. So, we have that conversation at the beginning so that you and I are in agreement on how we will conduct transactions. So, something to think about. Make sure that you can match tenacity. One big thing that I make sure to let all my clients know as well is I have contracts that say that I'm your real estate agent and you got to use me XYZ for whatever timeline. But I have 100% cancel anytime, no questions asked type of policy, right? If you're not happy with my services, tell me deuces, right? It doesn't hurt my feelings, and it's never happened so far because I feel like I do my job. And that's not always the case with everybody. I've run into, I've received some clients that came from being unhappy somewhere else. And, I just, sometimes their feet have been held to the fire. They're being basically forced to use some agent against their will at this point. And I just don't do that. So if we meet and I'm not a good fit, or if we meet the 50th time and you finally decide that I'm not a good fit, I will never hold you to sticking with me. Now, if we're in the middle of buying a house, that's a different story. You stuck like Chuck, but during the process, some issues arise. We part ways, no harm, no foul. And then really one of the biggest things that I really just dislike in the industry is that salesman-y vibe, right? I love that I don't have to be a salesman, right? When I'm selling your house, I'm a marketer. When I'm helping you buy a house, I'm a guide, right? I am not convincing you to buy anything. I am not pushing you to make a specific decision. I am giving you information and allowing you to decide where you want to go, what you want to happen. And my information comes with absolutely no filter, right? If I'm thinking it, I'm going to say it. If we're walking through houses and I see some stuff that looks silly, I'm going to be pointing it out. If I look at your financials, right, sometimes I have those conversations with people. Of course, I don't have to know anything about your financials, but my lender will. But if you have those conversations with me, I might tell you maybe now's not the time. I just really want you to be comfortable with me and also with whatever payment you're going to get stuck with. And if you're the type of person that says, hey, I'm making X amount of dollars now, but in the future, I'm going to be making a lot more, and you're confident with that and you're comfortable with some ramen noodles for a little while, I'm happy to help you out, right? I'm not going to tell you I won't help you, but I will give you my honest advice at all times. And really, I like to try and stay in contact. I don't always do the best job, but a lot of my clients I reach out to regularly. I have them to my house. We do Halloween parties. We do, all kind of different stuff. And it's not really a real estate thing. It's just inviting people into my life that, liked me and trusted me to help them with one of the biggest decisions that they have made probably ever, or, the 50th time that they've made a decision like that. But I do like to connect with people, and some of them, it makes me sad, right? We go see houses every day for 6 months, and then I don't see them for a year or two. And, it makes me sad, but, I really do care. I really do want to help. I really do want you to be happy where you're going, because I want you to be happy, but also because I want you to tell everybody else that I made you happy, right? That I helped you get where you want to be. And I have no shame in asking you to tell your friends about me. I say, pass my information out like candy. And yeah, I want it. Whether you're buying a house with me or whether you're in California and you hear about somebody that's moving to Texas and you see this video, you feel free, send them every bit of information that you've got on me. I will not turn that away. So if you've stuck around this long, or you jump to the end because there will be a little button that says, closing statement. If you've made it here, I appreciate you sticking with me. I know some of it's a little rambly, but I really feel like I want you to know I'm on your side, and I truly do want to be that homeowner's best friend. I want to be your best friend for the transaction, for life. Maybe not your best friend. My wife's my best friend, but I'll be a good friend. I'll help you get where you want to go. I'll help you get from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C or D, or however many times you need to move. I'd love to help it happen every time with as few issues as possible and make you as happy as possible each time it happens, right? And there's, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can guarantee that you're going to be happy with any decision that you've made, or even that the market is going to do what it's expected to do. But I am here to, even when those issues arise and maybe you're stuck in the house that you did pick, I'm still here to help you get out of that situation into the next one. Hopefully the next one's not a situation, but you know what I mean. So if your house doesn't fit your lifestyle anymore and you feel like I might be able to be the one to get you to that next spot, I would love for you to reach out. Maybe watch some other videos of mine, see the places that I go, the people that I'm talking to. I am doing a lot of new construction recently, but in the past 10 years, I've done everything from $10,000 lots up to $800,000 properties on acreage to townhomes, condominiums. I can help with a little bit of anything. And again, I focus in Baytown, Mont Belvieu, Dayton, and Crosby, but I've done deals as far east as Orange, as far south as Corpus Christi, as far north as Huntsville. I think that's as far north as I've gone. But if you're in the greater Houston area, I'd love to help you out. If you're in Baytown, if you're in Highlands, right, I'm in Highlands. I'd, of course, love to sell every house in Highlands. So then I ain't got to drive too far, and my friends stay close. But if I can help you out, if there's anything I can do for you, whether you're here in the Houston market or elsewhere, if you need questions answered, give me a call. My information's down below. I'd love to help you. And if your house doesn't fit your life anymore, you don't need a sales pitch. You need clarity. Click down below. You'll find my information. Give me a call. I'd love to help. And I'll see you on the next video. And I'll see you on the next video. And I'll see you on the next video.